Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Techegy podcast. This is episode number 8, I think, of the podcast we've been doing. I think it's number 8. I looked earlier. It's a lovely show. Sometimes you just get confused. You forget because you watch so many of them. They're so great. As you may or may not know by now, we are a podcast that deals with retro computing and gaming, but also the vast landscape of the modern and the futuristic. If at any time you like what you hear, or you don't really hate it, go ahead and subscribe. And I'm going to need you to do one thing. Everybody, I need everyone to do one thing. Climb up to the top rope. Look out at the crowd as they chant your name and deliver the most devastating elbow drop on that like button. Ooh, yeah, brother. Hey, guys.
Hey, John.
What's up? It's always good. I like doing the Macho Man's ooh yeah. So as usual, we have the Motley Crew here. That's a copyright strike for saying the name. We got MC, JC, JM as usual, but there is another individual here crawling from the shadows onto our podcast. The very respected Mike Marcoux is here, also known as MM for these purposes. I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce yourself, Mike.
Sure. Yeah, I couldn't get any more confusing. You got 2 Johns and 2 Mikes, so
It's a thing.
We need a few more mics. It's technology is kind of that way. I think everybody I've ever worked with is either John or Mike.
I think we can make a good gimmick out of it.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me. Again, I'm Mike Marcoux. I've been in technology, since 82, 81. But for the past 24 years, I've been a consultant for a software company. I grew up, ColecoVision was my first gaming system. I learned out my computer stuff, on an Apple II Plus. I'm dating myself because there's no cap lock on it. Going from that, I loved my Sega Genesis because of NHL hockey. But I also like the Dreamcast. And I do like Xbox. I do play games on that. So I'm happy to be here. Happy to be in the company of another Mike and 2 Johns.
Yeah, it's too many people with the same name here. We're gonna have to come up with nicknames.
I vote that we change our names next meeting.
I was gonna say it's good for me. I can remember one of the names.
Yeah, right. Well, at least when one mic falls asleep, the other one will still keep going. So
it helps.
No, it does. So it's been a while since we did a podcast. It's how life works out. We did the gaming awards. Mike's MC and I did that back in January. So we're gonna call this season 2, starting now in April. Hopefully we can get back on track here with this. So since I've seen everybody, since I've newly met the very respected MM, thank you for joining us as well. What's everybody been up to? Let's just round robin it. What have you been playing? What have you been tinkering with? Getting your hands dirty. Anyone can chime in at any time.
I'm still doing the ColecoVision and Raspberry Pi, and not as much of Xbox lately, but I'm hoping to get back into that. But that's about it. Doing a lot of ColecoVision collecting. So
I told you, you and I had that short text conversation the other night when I finally had just went through all the stuff that you had forced me to buy when we were at the different conventions last year. And I was like tallying it all up, and it was unbelievable the amount of money that I spent. I was out of control.
That's right. I don't know how many times I put my gun up to your head and said, Mike or John, you got to buy this. You got to buy this.
I couldn't get it. Every single time I saw something, it was buy it. Oh, what's that? What's the price on that? 1,000? No, just buy it. You'll never see it again. Just buy it. And then I still have stuff in here, and the last 2 weeks I've been going through all of it on the other side of my desk in here because I have a game room in the basement. I'm trying to get everything moved down there, and it's still stacked up over here. And I have like these boxed PC games from like the 90s and the 2000s sitting here. And my dog, before we got on the podcast, was in here, and he was chewing, starting to get into these boxes. So I had to kick them out and close the door because of that. Anyways, MC, what have you been up to? I probably know, but
well, I've been trying to learn Game Maker and playing a lot of Xbox games.
Doing that for a couple of years.
Yeah, yeah.
Both things.
Yeah, but mostly what I've been playing Conan with you, and then a little bit of Elden Ring. Tunic, I've been playing a lot of. The new Lego Star Wars one, I started playing that.
Oh,
Try a little bit of Weird West. It isn't too bad. And then I always play Forza Horizon 4. You know, that's my relax game when I'm burned out. It's easy to play. But that's basically it. Just playing them and trying to, learn Game Maker. And I, always, like, I just went out the Warp Zone. Unfortunately, a week before he opened, but I was out there already, so I stopped in to see what he was doing at his new store. So
Was he open?
well, yeah, he was putting away inventory. There wasn't much I could look at, but I got to see the place. And since I was out at the mall out there, I figured I'd stop by. So
Is it a lot bigger?
huh?
Is it a lot bigger?
Oh yeah, it's probably double the size, if not triple the size. And it's, how we make a left getting off that off ramp, you make a right. It's a couple blocks. You go up and you make a left and you go up 2 blocks. It's on the right.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's going to be nice. He opened. I think he opened yesterday. I think he did open.
Yeah, he's open now.
Yeah,
I think Friday was the first official day because I thought it was weird that he opened. His grand
that's
opening
right.
was on a Friday.
Well, he's doing Friday. He's going to be open Friday, Saturday, Sundays. From what?
Okay, that's why. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he posted that video on Facebook saying they were open. So
Yeah. No. He opened Friday. John's right. So.
Yeah.
But that's all I've been.
Yeah. I don't even think I need to. MC. You know what I've been doing.
Yeah, I know.
What have I been doing?
Well, mostly playing games with me.
Well, what specific game have I been ignoring everybody?
Well, Elden Ring. You've been playing more Elden Ring than Conan. Okay, yeah.
I am 100% obsessed with Elden Ring. It's game of the year. I don't even need to. I have no doubt in my mind it's game of the year. Anyone not familiar with it, it's a From Software game. They did the Dark Souls series, Demon Souls, and Bloodborne, which are not the most approachable game, especially for people that are looking for a more casual adventure. It's a lot of death. A lot of times that I wanted to throw my controller through the TV screen, but I have 212 hours in right now. I have a 26-inch by 34-inch poster hanging on the wall right over here that I just put up today with it on there, and I'm sold. Like that I love the game. Like I have nothing but good things to say about it.
Do you think that could get ported over to the ColecoVision?
Hey, whoa, now hold on, because somebody just recently, and I have it installed. I actually want to do a playthrough of it for the podcast. Bloodborne, which came out in 2015 for the PlayStation, same company, From Software, made this. Somebody did a demake and made it so it was like a PS1 game. And it's
really?
From what I've seen and from what I've seen other people reviews of it, they said it's phenomenal.
Isn't Bloodborne the one that came out the same time as Overwatch? And it was, am I thinking the right game?
Bloodborne, it was a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's not the same game I'm thinking then.
And it took place in like an alternative Victorian England timeline.
I'm thinking a totally different game. There was a game that I played that came out the same time as Overwatch, and it was a fun game, but Overwatch was almost the same game, and it just killed it.
Now I'm gonna wonder what you're talking about.
Yeah, we can figure that one out. I probably have it somewhere.
Yeah.
I played the heck out of it.
But
probably
there's
one of 3,
Right. No, there's it's unfortunate that there's a PlayStation exclusive that had just come out at the same time that Elden Ring came out, and it's kind of overshadowed now by all the hype that Elden Ring has got. But I think one of the funniest things is, and Elden Ring is the most accessible From Software game there is. It's way easier. I've played all the games. I maybe don't want to admit that I've never even finished most of them. I finished Dark Souls 3 and that was pretty much it. But I kind of feel bad a little bit because a lot of people get sucked into this hype and then they end up playing it. And there was actually, I saw a video the other day of the different percentages of like completion, how far people made it in the game before they quit playing it. And it's like astronomical how many people never even finished the first like major boss. Like 60% of people never even completed it because it was too hard. So
Interesting.
don't want to scare anyone away from playing it. It's great, but it's not. I mean, you have to learn when to counter.
You just have to grind. That's all. If you want to get power up.
But I will say that it's accessible because it's not linear like the past From Software games. You can actually, if you can't beat this guy, you can run off to you can run off to a different area and
I don't even
mess
like the
around.
other ones because they abuse you. They send you back to the beginning all the time. I can't stand that.
Well, that was another.
Doesn't do that. That's why it's
there's a lot of spawn points in this one now. So when you die, it starts you off right outside of the boss instead of before you had to run the whole way back through while you're getting destroyed by everything on the way there. So by the time you get there, you have no health, no revives, nothing left. So anyways, that's what I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of work around the house too. I put up some shelves in here, some stuff down in the game room. I spray painted my curtain rod in my bathroom a very metallic gold color. Don't know why I did that, but I did it. Because I can. And I have family coming out this weekend coming up, and I did it because when you turn the light on in the bathroom, it just reflects light back in your face. That's the first thing they're going to comment on. So instead of cleaning my house for them, I will distract them.
It works.
It does work. They're easily distracted. So like I could laser pointer on the wall and my brother-in-law would be over swatting at it. So anyways, yeah, squirrel, cat, brother-in-law, what's the difference? So that just leaves What have you been up to?
Oh, let's see. Xbox, I'm currently playing Tiny Tina's Winter Wonderland or whatever it's called. I call it just Tina Turner's Adventure, but it's pretty good actually. It's if you like if you're a fan of the of those games of the Borderlands games, it's gorgeous on the Series X. From the retro thing, the retro side of the house, I just got in a Odyssey 2. I'm down to missing 2 cartridges for the Odyssey 2, and I just got a one of the voice things in, and it actually works. It needed a little bit of cleaning. It's amazing what you can do with contact cleaner when you spray it all over everything. What else? It's dripping stuff, I kind of felt sorry for the people I was on the phone with when I was doing it. So, it's those boxes when they come in from eBay. But I've got the machine working. I figured out how to repair the joystick and what piece you have to buy if you break off a piece, which I did. So that Odyssey was kind of an interesting system, just from the standpoint of how many games could they copy from other publishers. So but I tell you what, I enjoy the KC's KC Munchkin, I think, is probably one of the most entertaining Pac-Man clones I've ever seen. So like everybody else, life gets in the way of actually having fun with the gaming stuff. So been doing the family stuff. I had to do a certification last week for Dynamics, that's a lot of fun. If there's nothing more when I put you to sleep than doing a certification for accounting software. It's it's what you have to do.
At least it wasn't Lotus 1-2-3. So
I still have a VisiCalc box around here somewhere for the Apple II. Yeah.
Hey, do you feel that the contact cleaner is better than 90% alcohol? Or
yeah, for certain things, absolutely. Cleaning the cartridges I think the alcohol is perfect when you get the Q-tip in there and
Yeah.
you go on both sides inside of there. I think that's the best way. But when you're actually getting into a system, you're actually opening up the inside of of a Odyssey Tour, ColecoVision, just spraying that bad boy down. And sometimes I'll even use a toothbrush in there when I'm spraying it down. And I'm not very conservative when it comes to how much I put on there. I want everything clean, and it makes it nice and shiny.
Yeah.
And that's not that alcohol doesn't do a good job. I just think for the contacts, especially where you plug in the cartridge.
Right.
If you get that straw in there and just spray that thing down and take a cartridge, you're not real worried about, like combat for the Atari 2600. I just jam that cartridge in there about 40 times with the contact cleaner, so it's just dripping cleaner. It works really well for that. But that's, that's kind of how I've seen it. I've seen people actually use, garden hose and just rinse the thing off. And I'm like, whoa, I can't, I was surprised somebody was repairing an arcade monitor and was actually using the garden hose. We're spraying, Simple Green on there. And I'm like, well, then we let it dry for 3 or 4 days. Well, I don't know about you guys. I have no patience. I want to be able to work on it within the next 2 hours, if not less. So the contact cleaner, it dries fast, and so does the alcohol.
Okay, good.
Not to jump back to Odyssey 2, but
Odyssey 2.
My
there you go.
There it is.
There's the voice.
The voice mod.
Yeah.
My favorite case, I guess you could say, for this, my favorite box for the Odyssey 2, and it's the one I have displayed up front down in my basement, is Attack of the Time Lord. Because it is the coolest, most late 70s, early 80s kind of sci-fi. Just, it has the Matrix skull with the UFO discs spinning around it. Is the craziest thing, and I wish I had a poster of it, so if I ever get my hands on one, I will. But that is the coolest box. I'm a box nerd, or at least artwork kind of nerd. I like the different artwork that comes with the games, and that another one I like is Quest for the Rings. I think that's a cool box with the dragon on the front. Demon Attack always had a cool box, kind of. I believe
I didn't see this. JC, is that actually will work with the sound thing? Attack of the Time Lord. It's a voice enhanced. Yeah, I actually pulled up the box. I have it, but I didn't know I didn't know his voice. That's cool.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Although I'll be totally honest with you, I didn't know there was a voice module expansion for the Odyssey 2 until you mentioned it before the podcast started. So
hey, John,
it's probably sorry,
John, speaking of boxes, did you see Opcode Games has a bunch of Coleco boxes for sale?
You mentioned something to me about it. You maybe even sent me a link, but I don't think I checked it out.
If you're looking for boxes, they have a bunch of repo boxes that they put out for
they're pretty nice from what I understand. If it's anything like what he's putting the super game module in, which is what I think that they are, they're gorgeous boxes.
I'm a little disappointed in Opcode because they had announced a few things they were coming out with hardware wise and stuff, and then they said due to the chip shortage they're still having issues. So because they were supposed to have the SGM2 and they said it's going to be another 18 months because of the chip shortage. So
yeah, I saw that too, John. I saw that this morning. Wasn't it this morning that he announced it? It was either this morning or yesterday.
I saw it. No, I got an email from them. I think it was 4 days ago, and it said that if you're looking for the SGM2, it's going to be a while because they just can't get the components that they need. So,
well, it's weird because then you got 8-bit Millie. He's coming out with his RAM board, which the only thing it's missing the sound chip, which that probably is where the cost is. It's probably that sound chip.
John and I were just talking about that. So does it use the sound chip from the original ColecoVision to?
Yeah. All it does is add RAM. Basically, basically, from what I understand, I have one coming just to take a look at it. But from what I understand, and we're looking at, what he's doing is basically it adds enough RAM to make it an Atom computer is what it looks like. It makes the ColecoVision basically an Atom without with just the Atom in memory, so that a lot of the original games that were done for the Atom will actually play on a ColecoVision with his board, is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
So all the Atom titles will work then.
Well, all 22 of them.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
Yeah, there's not a lot, but
That's what it sounds like. I think he's going to use it for his own games as well. I mean, let's face it. 1K is what the ColecoVision was. What is it? Something crazy?
Yeah, 1K, and then that bumps it up to 32.
Yeah, so that gives it a lot more room for programming. I looked at the book, and I forget the guy's name. That did a book on ColecoVision programming and what they're trying to ram into that little. It was Tony Cruz's book, but what he's trying to, all the stuff that they're trying to do into that 1K RAM and swapping out. It's pretty intense. It'd be a lot easier with more RAM, obviously, but it makes a lot more sense if you go look at that book and see what Tony's talking about the RAM. I can see why Millie wants more RAM for his games.
Yeah, but I've seen some screenshots from JF on some of his upcoming titles, and he's using the stock ColecoVision, and that's looking like, I mean, those screenshots look like NES titles,
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean,
yep.
It's crazy.
That Dracula, the one that I have written on the back of a check, which you can't see a check. It's written on like the green part of the check. I mean, it's phenomenal what people are doing with technology, especially that, and I think that the three of us had talked about when we had met a couple weeks ago, the Intellivision, which is somebody ported Castlevania to the Intellivision, which would never be possible under normal circumstances. But I'm trying to get my hands on a physical copy of it. That had a very limited run, so it's like,
it looked really good.
It has the music. There's not any tearing or any sound audio issues or anything, which sometimes you get when you try ports. But I guess it's not really a port. They redesigned the entire game for the Intellivision, so it's really cool. And I wanted to jump. I jumped away real quick because I wanted to get the case for Lunar Pool, because this is another one that I think has really cool artwork, which I'm going to mess it up because.
Yeah, it's hard to see, John.
Yeah, I know, but it's like two guys on a space station, like dressed like androids, playing pool. This is called Lunar Pool. It's for the Nintendo. It's made by FCI, and it's kind of like an overhead mini golf thing, but you're playing pool. So I don't know. That's another thing. That's just another piece of, like, I like the feature of the cool boxes, and it's really hard for anyone to see, but if you look it up, you can see the cover.
Well, then I better hold that gun up to your head, and you better buy those repo boxes from Upcode Games then.
Well, we have a game convention coming up in a month.
Yeah.
It's Korgs in Columbus. It's on Saturday, May 14th. If anyone listening is interested in checking that out, you want to make the trip to Columbus, we'll be there. You can meet us.
Columbus, Ohio.
You won't know who we are, but
Millie gave me $50 to go and buy up all the ColecoVision games, so I'm gonna do that for him. I'm just kidding.
Is that beer money included?
Oh, no.
Hey,
Mike, for you, it's coffee money.
Oh, no. John, what were you drinking the last time we were in Columbus?
Oh, yeah. What was that stuff called?
Fireball.
He doesn't know what it's called. That's dangerous.
John and I we walked from the hotel to a sports bar that was right near the hotel that Friday night before the convention. And I got him he was drinking a couple beers, and the next thing you know, we have like 30 shots of Fireball in front of us.
And I like cinnamon too, so that's a bad combination.
So we had to walk back to the hotel room after, and then we woke up at like what 7 a.m. and went and got breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it was all
Yeah,
good. No, Millie's actually gonna have a booth at the at that conference. So
At
we'll
Corgs.
see what he has to see what he's we'll take some pictures and
He's gonna be at
share it.
Corgs.
Yeah, he's gonna be at Corgs. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He already announced that. Yeah. So, hey, I had a question for Mike M. When we talked on that Zoom meetup that I hosted, you mentioned something about you had an adapter to dump the cartridge into a ROM.
Yeah.
What are you using, or what?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm using the one from Atari Max.
Okay, that's what I thought. That was
Yeah, except for the
Okay.
2600 stuff. I didn't buy that. I'm actually using one of the Recton 77s that
Okay.
that Hyperkin put out. There's a firmware that's made by the community, because the Stella folks, they wanted more games to work with it. But there's a switch you can flip on to actually dump the game down to it. So I never
Okay.
bought the piece for that, but the Coleco one, it works great. So
Does it work great? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you. I think you are. I'm a member of the Collector Vision, gaming club, the
Right.
experience club. So
Yeah.
uh, I'd rather use my Atari Max as opposed to using the actual cartridges.
Right.
So when I get those things in, I like to dump them immediately and then put them in their box and put them away and don't talk about them. It's like Fight Club with those.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Well, do you have a Phoenix?
I have two of them.
Oh, you have two. Okay. All right.
Yeah, one of them is right here. My
Yeah,
work Phoenix.
Work Phoenix.
Work.
So that's
Phoenix. Yeah.
that's where
Yeah,
they're all at.
it's when you get on a conference call that they don't call your name for 45 minutes, you got to do something. And so I have a work Phoenix. I also have the Evercade VS sitting next to it. So it's either that or the Weather Channel. It's got to be something. You talked about that squirrel thing earlier. You'll be on a conference call. You'll be like, at least I'm looking kind of at the thing.
That's I have my Nintendo Switch sitting here on the desk, and that's what I do. So
Yeah, I'll tell you. There's only one game I play on my Switch right now, and it's Cruisin', the new Cruisin' game. I love that game.
it's
They
so
did a
good.
really good job on it.
The soundtrack is just as good, as it always was, and it might even be better now. So
Yeah, I mean it's made by the guys who did Hydro Thunder, which is one of my favorite arcade games. We were talking earlier about I mentioned the Dreamcast. That was the game I had to have on the Dreamcast was Hydro Thunder. So I do have a Switch game I haven't opened yet. Night Trap.
Night Trap.
I haven't opened it. I got it from a trade-in.
That's
game stores,
that's
but I've had it.
Why are
MC.
those Switch games so expensive? My God.
Well, this one is a collector's item because I bought it way after it came out, but I actually had it for my Sega CD.
I have the original
That's
for the Sega CD.
it's MC here. He's the full motion video guy. So
Sewer Shark was the game I enjoyed the most.
I love that one. That was the best one, I think.
Yeah.
So
Night Trap, I don't think I ever played it for more than 20 minutes. I put it back on the shelf.
Well, I always got killed right away,
Yeah, that was it. You died right away, and you barely finished your beer.
But Sewer Shark I actually beat. So
Sewer Shark, yeah, same here.
which I had a hard time beating. I had my wife calling out right, left, so I could beat it.
I think I did something very similar. I think I had a friend yelling it out when
Yeah.
But it was at least for its time. That was a cool game.
That was a good game.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. Like I said, I really the Genesis was probably my favorite in that era, but it was for two games. It was for Sonic, of course.
Yeah.
But it was really the first time we actually saw a decent hockey game.
What about Kid Chameleon?
What about which one?
Kid Chameleon.
I didn't play that one very much.
See, I love that one because you could change characters to do different, you could switch between characters and stuff to do different things. It was cool.
I didn't want to think. I just wanted to jump, get rings.
Well, yeah.
Score on a goalie or something. Yeah, it almost sounds like work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
take a look at it.
Joe Montana's talk football. I used to
yeah. I always called it Al Bundy's football because he looked like Ed O'Neill from Married with Children on that cover.
Mhm.
He'd be like, the Al Bundy pose. That's
Yeah.
kind of who he looked like to me. So I always called it Al Bundy's sports talk football.
Yeah, no, the Sega was my main system. I bought just about everything for. Too bad my Sega CD quit working. So
Yours and everybody
I
else's.
could get it repaired. I just never got around to it. I got a guy I know to know. I mean, I can call a guy to get it repaired, but I never done it. So.
Yeah. I punted mine years ago. I'm sure you guys would feel the same way. There are things I got rid of that I wish I wouldn't have gotten rid of.
Yeah.
Or now if I have to get it back, it's a whole lot more than what I sold it for back in the day.
Right.
Well, I got rid of I had the ColecoVision. I had every cartridge available, and I had an Atom. Got rid of that. Got rid of the Coleco, and now I'm kicking myself. I wish I would have kept everything, but
Same here.
just
Same here.
You run out of space, and it's like something's got to go. So
Exactly.
I wish, and I always kick myself for this. And my mom tells me every time, I told you. Growing up in the 90s with Super Nintendo, N64, all the other consoles, Dreamcast, and that, I never took care of my boxes and stuff like that. Boxes and jewel cases, because we had like holders for them. You put the CDs in the CD holder, and then I had like a thing that you put cartridges in and kept them. So the boxes just ended up in closets. They got destroyed. And now I have all these consoles and stuff that are mine. Some of them even have my last name written on the bottom of them. But I don't have boxes for any of the games, and it's heartbreaking. I should have. A couple of them I still do, but most of them just ended up getting destroyed, and I kick myself. I wish I should have listened to my mom that one time. This is the only time, Mom, if you're listening, I will admit that I should have listened to you that single time.
just that one time.
Yeah.
That one time.
That one time.
I kept my boxes. I actually had I had everything. I had a lot of the Coleco games. I did not have the Atari adapter. That was the only one I didn't have, but I had all the original boxes. And, when I sold it all with the boxes. And it was, I look back at it, what I've had to pay. Luckily, when I started getting back into collecting was about 2018, where things were still a little better priced than what they are today.
They're
So,
crazy now.
from that standpoint, but I look at some of the stuff I had all the original G.I. Joe stuff from like the 70s. My mom sold all that for 50 cents in a garage sale. Now, granted, she gave me the 50 cents, but I think I'd rather have had the guys today. I'm looking at some of that stuff online, and that big yellow thing that I had is worth like $500-600 today. Well, you got 50 cents, back in the 70s for it at a garage sale. But I guess that works.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, what is getting the Atari 2600 adapter? Is it worth it for the Coleco or not?
As a collector, I like having it because I didn't have it back in the day.
Yeah.
If you're a collector, if you're looking at it simply as a collector, yeah, it's worth getting. If you're looking at it to use, quite frankly, I'd rather have an Atari 2600 or have one of these this Recton. Make sure I say that correctly before John JC actually has to censor me. Recton 77.
Yeah.
Because it works very well with the with HDMI. But if I have to yank a machine out to play actual Atari games, I'll either pull out a 7800 or a 2600 that I've modded to work with composite.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you're collecting, get it.
Yeah, I can get a pristine one for $50.
Yeah, that's worth it. That's
I
worth
mean,
it. I've got an extra one sitting on the shelf over here I'm looking at.
It doesn't have the box. It's just loose, but
That's too much. You should be able to get it for less than that, John.
is it really?
Yeah,
Less
You should be able to find it for like 20 or 30 bucks tops without
Okay.
the box. The box is going to be about 100.
Even a pristine looking one.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
dude, you can make them look pristine. All you have to
That's
do
true.
is you clean it and then you put, you know what I've learned? I did learn a trick. I don't know if you guys know about this, is McGuire's Back to Black, I think is what it's called. You use that on your ColecoVision, or you use that on your on the expansion module, any of that old plastic. It
Yeah.
makes it look brand new. I mean,
Wow.
it's Ruggers does it. When he sent back one of my ColecoVisions, I had him actually do that RGB mod where he put the thing underneath the board. I can solder, but that's way beyond my skill set. And he sent the thing back and it looked brand new. And I said, hey, Jimmy, what did you do on this thing? And he goes, I just used, a car polish on it, a car plastic polish that you would use on your leather. So if you want to make your stuff look, it works great on the Genesis there, JC. I did it on a couple of mine. Just clean it and put that stuff, like a simple green, then put that stuff on there, and it looks brand new.
When he sent mine back, it looked like it just came out of the box.
That's what he did. That's exactly what he did. Is he's using, and I've got a thing of it sitting over here, but yeah, I mean, it even works on the Odyssey MC.
Wow.
Yeah, it even worked on the Odyssey.
That's a
I
good
did it
tip.
on the I
Nice.
did it on the voice thing. This thing right here's got it on there. That's why it's so shiny.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it does look nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't look like that when it came in.
I normally just use a hose and simple green.
Yeah, hose and simple green. Yeah, well, you got to do that first. You have to do that first because
Right.
the
Get the dirt
McGuire's
off.
doesn't take that off. Yeah. And hopefully you take the electronics out though, at least.
I usually leave it plugged in.
Yeah, that's better. Have a couple of beers, be out there with the hose, and
I give a little bit. I pour one out on it too. So
That's excellent. Yeah, it helps
Share.
with the collector value. Yeah, yeah. And that way your mom can sell it for 50 cents in a garage sale. Yeah,
well, it doesn't matter because I don't have the box anymore. So
yeah. You have the box.
I destroyed the box when I was 10.
It's amazing. It's either you grow up saving the boxes or you don't. I mean, it's really funny how that right there works. So
Yeah,
I had
there's
the-
not like an yeah. No, you're right. There's not like an in between. Yeah.
I had one of those little, those little Pac-Mans where the Coleco ones, the little one, the one with the LED inside of it, the little where he moved around, and I still had the box for the thing when I sold it.
Oh, I keep I'm like a box hoarder now. I went the opposite direction when I got older, but I have stuff like my grandma. And I don't even know, she passed away in 2020. So we have all this like stuff that she bought for us as kids, but she never realized had because she knew that we would destroy the boxes or lose it, or it would just end up being like a toy, So we have like all the McDonald's toys are from like the early 90s, and some stuff for my cousins like in the late 80s. They're just still in the kids meal boxes. Just all this stuff, Beanie Babies, just tons of them. I remember when Beanie Babies people were going to get rich off Beanie Babies. That was a thing, and now everybody has millions of Beanie Babies they don't know what to do with. Also, those little beans inside there, don't let your dogs get a hold of them because it will kill them. That is very true. They are dangerous.
Oh yeah.
What's another collector's item? Pokemon cards. I have a binder full of Pokemon cards somewhere in here,
My son
and
does.
I will
Yeah, my
break
son
that
does
out.
too. Yeah, my son does as well.
And I see
Hey,
people like they have like certain cards like holographic Charizard or Squirtle or whatever it was, and they're going for like crazy amounts of money. And I pick mine up and look at it, and of course, like it has to be that certain number that's printed at the bottom card. Mine's like one number off from it. It's like
You didn't
that
think of using
close.
a marker and just changing it? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I couldn't because I cleaned off all the numbers with simple green and a hose. So
Oh, okay, yeah.
so
No, I usually kept my stuff pretty good. The only thing I did was the Sega cartridges. I cut the top tab off that it hangs on the hook at the store. I heard that's bad to do now. So,
I did the same thing actually. I cut that little tab off because it wouldn't fit well on my shelf.
that'd me too. But then they say they're worth more with the tab on. I don't know.
I could see that.
But anyway, no, I took care of pretty much all my stuff except for what my parents threw out. So
Yeah.
I went away to college and things disappeared.
That's when I went to school. And when I was little, I'd go to school, in the morning, and I'd come back and, my mom had, done the great Hoover vacuum cleaner in my room. So, there'd be stuff missing and, it's like, where's the box for my phaser? It's like, you don't need that. It's the garbage.
I will say when I moved into my first house, all my PC games, I had all the boxes. I actually cut the front and backs off them to put in a filing cabinet, but I got rid of all the boxes there, because I had no room. But it's funny, I still have all that stuff, the front and back.
Wow.
Well, what I wanted was, you need the specs to know what computer to run it on. So you needed the back of the box, and I always wanted the front cover just because of the look, but I got rid of all them boxes. But I have all the discs. I told John, I sat on one night, we were on all night on Zoom talking about me showing all the games I had. So,
Yeah, that was right after COVID. We were on there till like 3 a.m.
Yeah, I have 2 bins, the big plastic bins full of just CDs from, games from PC.
I have
See, something
to ask,
Yeah.
I have to ask, you have this game. And you'll laugh when you see what it is.
I have that.
Trespasser.
Yeah.
That game didn't work very well. To play, but I love that game.
The guy that made this game is actually the guy who came up with the Xbox.
Yep.
Oh, really?
They talk about him. Did they interview him, or
Seamus.
they have like a segment on him in the documentary that came out a while back.
Seamus was his name. Is it Seamus?
I believe it's a Irish name of the sort.
Yeah, I think it's Seamus.
That is a good show they created, by the way.
That is a
That's
very good documentary. It is.
That was a good documentary.
Well, he makes fun of that game.
Yeah.
And in that, I thought that was the funniest thing is watching him make fun of that
But
game.
when that game came out, there was really nothing like it. You know what I mean?
Well, it was the first with like that kind of like realistic physics that they were trying to pull off. And I think for him, like really, he thought his career was over.
Seamus Blackley.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
That's it. Yeah. No, I always laugh at this. Somebody threw this away at my office and I grabbed it. I never actually, this has not been in any of my PCs, but I remembered the game just because
don't put it in a PC. It'll break the PC, but
it'll break the PC. Yeah, somebody actually, like I said, they actually threw this away. It actually looks like it's never been played.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of people threw them away at some point.
Oh, it was tough to play. It really was. But I made it halfway through the game. I never
made it halfway.
You want to talk about some stress?
Hey, that's further. That's further than you've made it in Elden Ring. So,
well, I haven't had time to play it. I'm only have 15 hours in Elden Ring. Sorry, I just don't have time.
Sorry, catch up with us. 200
my
plus.
My problem is I went and bought Game Pass, and every game that comes out, I have to try it.
I got Game Pass.
I know, but you haven't tried any of the games. Look, I've tried all these games. And I found out I really like Tunic. I think Tunic's pretty good.
It's good.
It's crazy though. You get the Game Pass in the one game you want. Like with me, Tina Turner's Wild Adventure, whatever, Tiny Tina. It's not on there.
Yes, but here's the problem: you're not waiting long enough.
Yeah, be careful,
John. You can't buy it. You gotta wait a year, then they come on Game Pass.
This is what I do. He makes fun of me for it every time because I'll buy something and a lot of times on sale, but I'll buy it and then like 3 months later it's on Game Pass.
And I'll laugh at him because I'll see, John, I didn't have to pay for it. I got it, well, I paid $15 for it, is the way I say it.
Now the one I do that with every year is I buy the NHL game. I do buy that one every year. And of course it drops. It just, you watch it drop to where eventually it's on Game Pass. Yep. I think it's on Game Pass starting next week or the week after. It's whenever the season ends, they bring it up. But I can tell you, I've got so many hours in that game. I take the Penguins all the way to the Stanley Cup and win the Stanley Cup. And I'll tell you how accurate it is this year. Is I am playing the Seattle Kraken for the Stanley Cup.
Wow!
To give you an idea how accurate this thing is, they're like the worst team in hockey.
Amazing.
I showed my son the breakdown. He goes, "Dad, half those teams aren't even going to make the playoffs." I'm like, this is how good EA has done this year.
Yeah.
So when the Seattle Kraken make it, and
they got a heck of a franchise there.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, what do they call their fans? The crackheads?
Yeah, crackheads.
There's the first beep. I get the first beep.
This team's only like a year old.
Yeah. Well, look at Vegas though. I mean, Vegas went all the way to the Cup.
That's true,
Finals.
but Vegas came in stacked from the beginning.
Well, this team had the same opportunity.
Yeah, but they did.
It's
It
not
was
like in the
Seattle. They didn't.
70s when you got an expansion team and you're drafting high school kids. Now they actually get to go take a guy off of everybody's roster.
Yeah,
So,
that's
you know, they
yeah,
just
and-
didn't. Seattle just didn't do a very good job at it.
they didn't have
listen. They threw away their boxes. They didn't listen to their mom.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. They threw away that box. You know.
Hey,
Sorry, JM. Go ahead.
It's okay. I wanted to. Can I share a screen for a second?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to show this. This I don't know if Mike M saw this. I know John. I shared it with you.
I don't look
Wow.
at most of the things you share with me. So
Oh, thanks. But
Love
they
just flows through the Zoom call.
no, somebody released a emulator for the DS. It's called Coleco DS.
Nice.
It's on GitHub now, but it's basically running the ColecoVision on a DS system. So I'll share
Wow.
this in the chat. I'll put this in the chat so you guys can.
yeah, no, I have a spare. I have a spare DS sitting in a
But,
drawer
yeah, if you-
right over here.
yeah.
So
I
Same
have
here.
one too. So I have one too. So I'm gonna try it and see if it'll work.
So
But
what
looks
are they,
pretty-
what are they doing? Are they
looks
throwing it
pretty
on
good
a?
screen there. So,
Oh yeah, that looks terrific. Are they throwing it on a? I'll have to take a look at that. See what they're putting it on.
oh,
They
there's
must be-
whoa. Sorry, there's
What?
MSX. There's MSX1 on there.
so
Wow.
it says the Coleco DS now supports following systems. So
Oh, Sega SG. There we go.
So it's like a blue MSX emulator.
Is this
Yeah.
all combined, or do I have to like do separate?
I don't know. I'll send you I'll put this in the chat and you guys can grab it. But I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting that they now that have it on the DS.
That's because you know that there's one for the
Wii.
what's that thing? The Wii. Yeah, the Wii one. I haven't tried it yet. I picked up
Yeah,
a
the Wii-
cheap. This is gonna sound bad. I picked up a cheap Wii, just to mess with, and it.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
Yeah, it does. Well, we've got a. I don't know. I'm down in the Carolinas, and down here, all our Goodwills take everything, and it's electronic related. They send it to one place, and that one place has a store. So they have so many Nintendo Wii's. They're $55 a piece.
Wow.
Actually, yeah. I mean, you can go in there and buy a Wii controller for like 12. But in cheap computer components and stuff, I think they're like one of the only one or two Goodwills that are actually doing that. So anytime you donate anything electronic, because you can buy computers, you can buy Macs, you can buy, stereo receivers. Not that I, not that I would, but there's very specific things that's pretty cool. With getting a $55 Wii is a pretty good deal.
Well, that Wii emulator, it just goes on the SD card, and then you can just dump your ROMs onto there and play it
I'll have
off
to
the
take a look
SD
at
card.
that. You have to take a
Yeah.
look at that because
I put that Facebook link in the chat, so if
Got it.
anybody wants to take a look at it.
Doesn't North Carolina have those red hot dogs too? Or those bright leaf
just
hot
saw that.
dogs?
I've seen those in the grocery store, but I don't know what North Carolina's. I know North Carolina is famous for smoking, but not sure what else it's famous for. I'm not naturally from here, originally from here. So
Hey, Mike M, do they have a lot of retro stores down there? Retro gaming stores?
they had a really nice one that actually had a TurboGrafx 16. Until I got mine, I kept trying to talk them into selling it to me, and they went out of business. They were probably the one that had the best, but there's a place down here called Video Game World that I think probably, and they were the ones that we were talking before we jumped on the call, that I got a bunch of 2,600 games from out of a box, but they're probably the biggest one here in Charlotte.
Okay.
And they're getting ready to open up a store, I want to say in Raleigh. So they'll have like 5 stores. They're really good. Then there's a couple of little ones here and there, but really Video Game World is really the only one that for the older stuff is the way to go. And they concentrate, there's not a lot of Coleco love here in Charlotte. I when I see that, it's normally in the bargain box, when you find the Coleco games, and it's normally, Zaxxon, Donkey Kong, the ones you can get everywhere.
Yeah, the usual.
Yeah. And then you find, 40 copies of Combat for the Atari 2600. You don't find a lot of love. Most of the love here starts at the NES. There's one place that the video game world does have a lot of Master System games. So that's probably the oldest I've seen. And I've seen one, what Master System?
I'm always on the look for Master System.
I'll have to go in there and look. I have one behind me. I got the adapter. It sits on top of the thing. That's the first one I got. Then I actually got the system itself with the phaser. They actually called it a phaser.
Yeah, no, Master System and MSX stuff I'm always looking for.
MSX is interesting. It's there was that, and most of that wasn't even over here.
Yeah, most of the stuff you find now, it's all Japanese for the most part. Japanese or European. So
it's a very interesting computer. I goofing with the Raspberry Pi a lot. I looked at the emulation and stuff that they're doing with it. There were some good games that came out from it. I can see why Opcode and is looking at trying to port some of that stuff over to the ColecoVision, because apparently they're pretty close in
they are
in programming.
So there's actually, and I found out about this on Instagram from a post from one of like the retro game people I follow, and it's just like, it was an obscure person. This isn't like a popular person. Somebody made, and it's a French guy. He makes these individually, so when you buy them from him, you place an order, and you don't get it for like 3 months. So you're taking a risk, but it's an adapter for the Master System that plays MSX1 games.
Wow.
And
I have not seen
I
that.
have it. I haven't tried it yet. I just got it maybe 3 weeks ago. JM, I don't know if I sent you something about this like 3 or 4 months ago, like maybe back at the beginning of the year. I did order it, haven't tested it yet. Looks like a lot of so you're not taking MSX games and putting them in. It's a SD card, but it's running through the Master System to output. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays. I read a couple of the comments. People said it works great. So
that's cool.
We'll see.
That's cool. Yeah, I've got one of the Crits EverDrives for my Master System. So then that's, with the fact that they're being made in Ukraine, they're hard to get right now for any of the systems. I saw that he moved his production somewhere where they're trying to get some of this stuff out. But if you look at like Stone Age Gamer and some of the other places, you cannot get an EverDrive right now, which is sad.
Hey, Mike M, do you ever go on to Mercari website for Coleco? They have a lot of stuff.
I've been out there twice. I have not looked that much at it. One of my friends, that's where he got his Evercade from, and he got a pretty good deal on it.
Yeah, they got a ton of ColecoVision hardware and cartridges available.
I'll have to take a look at that. There's one cartridge I'm missing for the ColecoVision. There's one I'm missing from the original run, and I remember seeing it, back in 84, 85 for $2.50 in the original box. So if I could jump in a DeLorean and go back and pick it up, every copy of it that there was, Wizard of Id Math. I wish I could get that one card. It's the one I'm missing. Before COVID, it was going for about $75. And I'm like, yeah, no, this will go down. Yeah, there's one up on eBay right now for $275, is it?
Wow.
So, yeah, it's Wizard of Id Math. Come on, people. You want to sell it to me for $25.
Well, like you said, you said you started collecting in 2018, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, so the prices have gone crazy since then.
Oh no, it's exactly. And if I would have known what I know today, I guess I should feel blessed that I picked up all the Fisher Price games. Because if I go to my wife and say I'm going to pay $200 for Fisher Price Dance Factory for the ColecoVision, I think she'd shoot me. And I think I paid 30 or 40 for it back in 2019. So I guess there's some blessings in there. I'd have to go look. I think I want to say that one is crazy to get now too. It's all those weird ones that nobody played.
Yeah, those are the ones that are the rarest.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't see a lot of them for the Atari. I mean, you know, I had a friend that found the Halloween cartridge, an actually original of it. So, you know, but he knew what he was getting. So, you know, it was, yeah, I forget what he paid for it. It was like $20.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's a kid's college fund right there with the prices today.
Oh, yeah.
If you paid 20 for it, I forget what they're going for these days. So,
Hey, speaking of Atari, you know that the Phoenix has a 2600 core that
it's okay. It's okay. They're supposed to be coming out with with the actual adapter. You can actually put the cartridges in it.
Oh, okay. Have you played games off the core?
I did. You know, I did to test it, and it's okay. It runs okay. You know, again, you got to look at what the core reason they came out with that system was. It was to run Coleco games. So the Atari core doesn't feel totally finished. It feels like, hey, we got it to work. We're going to do more with it when we get the opportunity. And it's no offense to the team that came out with it, because the Phoenix is a phenomenal system for what it is, and for, you know, that group doing it on their own. You know, you look at a Hyperkin, or you look at, you know, some of these bigger companies that do it. What these guys did was amazing for the size of what Collector Vision is. But they're developers like us. You know, they've got other jobs. You know, they're just doing this because they for the love of ColecoVision, right. And you know, they want to do an Intellivision core. You know, I think they were kind of hoping that others would jump in and say, hey, I can do this. Let me write it. So they did everything open source, but you know, nobody has done that. You know, if you go out to the forums, everybody's like, well, it doesn't do this, it doesn't do that. Well, let's look at what it does do versus what it doesn't do. So I got to put a stupid little $2 or $5 switch box, HDMI switch box on it, so it works with this TV that I got in here.
Yeah, I heard that they were supposed to do like an Atom core, and
they want to. It's you know, you look at what they want to do, and then you look at what resources they have. It really goes down to what resources they have. I really believe that they thought other people were going to jump in and start making the cores. I think that was their plan.
Well, I mean, you know, Toby and JF are the main two. So
yeah, and they're not. And from what I understand, if you read between the lines, when you read what JF publicly, when he puts out there, he's like, I want this stuff to work like this too. So I think it's the other. I think it's the other guys. I think Brian Burney is the main guy.
Oh,
I think he's the main. Yeah, I think he's the main guy doing the programming on the Phoenix. And he's an engineer in his everyday life. So that's how he's paying for his family stuff. So that's where his concentration is going to be. But if you look at the list, if you go out and look at the list of people, you look at the people who are answering the questions, it's mainly Brian Burney.
Yeah.
So I have a sneaking suspicion that he's the guy that did all the hardware. He's also, you know, when they were showing the pictures of the prototypes, he was the guy that had the prototypes in his hand.
Okay.
So I think it's a one-man thing when it comes to the Phoenix. I think it's one or two that are actually doing it. And you know, Toby's the guy that does all the boxing. You know, they put some great pictures of Toby's garage. And geez, if Collector Vision watches this and I'm wrong, just, you know, I'm just reading from what I can read on the forums, but geez, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it really is these two guys just, you know, doing things for the love of the community. So, yeah, I wish they'd make a deal with like a Hyperkin or somebody like that, John. So, you know, they could get more developers on it. Because can you imagine if like Hyperkin took it over? They could they have the resources. You know, pre-COVID, after COVID, they have the resources. They have the money. You know, they could take the dream and, you know, hopefully get it over the finish line without screwing it up.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only problem is you lose creative control when you bring in a big company. But that's, you know, I've always been kind of surprised somebody hasn't picked that up, because that system is brilliant.
Well, they were supposed to do another run, weren't they, of the Phoenix?
Yeah, JF said that there was an issue with supply chain, just like everybody else. So it looks like what the supply chain's affecting. Now, a normal ColecoVision cartridge, it doesn't look like it's affecting. If you look, they're getting ready, they're going to come out with the club games. There's no delay in the club games. They haven't said anything, at least. And they're getting ready to do runs of some of those Team Pixel Boy games, like the R-Type, Asteroids, and what was the other one? Star Castle. I'd love to get my hands on a copy of Star Castle. But they're getting ready to make those runs, but they haven't mentioned anything about supply chain on that. So regular ColecoVision cartridges don't look like they're affected.
Yeah.
It looks like it's just the stuff that Opticode's doing with the enhanced stuff.
Well, Opticode was supposed to come out with a controller too. And what would be holding that back?
That's a good question. That controller looked great. By the way.
Yeah, it looked really good because it had the keypad and everything built in.
Yeah, I use this with the Phoenix.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get one.
Yeah, watch eBay. Watch eBay. They're about $60 from Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, don't pay more than 60. I paid 60. Yeah, and it goes, there are guys that put it up there all the time. 60 is the price, and they DHL'd it in. I got it in like 5 days. Okay. That's what they use with the Phoenix. Now somebody has developed a board that you can put inside there and make it work with a ColecoVision. But by the time you go,
so that won't work with the ColecoVision, just with
Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah, but somebody's made a board that you can make it work with the Phoenix. I mean, make it work with the ColecoVision. But to me, by the time you add all that extra money in it, you're better off buying the one guy that's making the big joysticks, the real nice ones.
Yeah, Ed Kelly.
Yeah, Ed stuff stuff's gorgeous. I
have one of those.
Awesome. Yeah. Then you don't need this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his stuff is nice. I've loved. Yeah,
his stuff's good. Yeah, and it'll work with both the Phoenix and the Coleco. So
yeah, this is what this one here is doing, is it's plugging in that SNES port on the side.
Right on the side. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I tried using one of the 8-bit DOE, one of their wireless Bluetooth ones with it, and I found that it lagged just enough to where I couldn't play Donkey Kong the way one main game. It was the delay was just enough to screw up the many years of playing Donkey Kong. So I went back to using a normal, the normal controller, or that one right there works fine. But I find that those delay just enough on the Coleco, on the Phoenix to throw me off on my game.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
I got a question for you guys. You remember that Commander X16 or something? I think it was 16, which was supposed to be the Commodore.
Yeah, it was by 8-bit guy was working on it.
Yeah. Is that done? Is that gone? Is that, did they quit making? I mean, last I heard there was one guy left on, or two guys.
Well, they were having issues.
Something.
Something with the production of the board, and also the way that they were programming the machine language. I guess maybe one of the people left or something, and they were having issues getting that back on track.
Yeah, what's the other one? There's another system.
He posts updates every once in a while about it, but I don't know. My personal opinion of it is I think there was a couple different things going on there, like a dynamic with the people working on it, and I think maybe it wasn't meshing at one point. Something happened that, because it was going pretty well for a while. They were releasing updates like once a month, and there was updates on the forum and on the Facebook groups, and then it just kind of fell apart.
And then you have the other one. What's the other one? The Amico or something?
That's dead.
Yeah, that looks like GameStop has stopped taking orders.
Well, they issued refunds, didn't they?
I don't know if did they? All I know is they stopped taking orders.
I thought I read that they issued refunds for that, for anybody who had pre-ordered.
Yeah.
What was that? It's not the Mini, is it?
The Amico.
The Amico.
Amico. Oh, the Intellivision one.
Yeah, the new one that was supposed to come out. I guess a few people got it, and that was it.
Wow. So it's
Nobody
officially
got it.
dead?
It was
Well,
never.
I don't know if it's officially dead, but
No, it was. It
like
was never. It was never released. It was never even finished.
well, some of the people that did the GoFundMe got theirs because I've been watching the Facebook thing on it. There's a number of people that received it, and the rest did not.
Well, I don't know
guess.
what they're going to do with it because there's not going to be any games or anything for it.
Well, there's games on it when you get it.
What about the people that pre-ordered the software?
Well, that's
Well, the one company was releasing cartridges for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What about the people that were?
I mean,
have a cartridge
I don't know if it's completely dead or not. I mean, because if you go out there, some people are saying that the company's still there, but they were complaining because of COVID, they couldn't get any hardware for the machines or something, So they couldn't get the chips. But that's probably just an excuse. Who knows?
Yeah, that one kind of went south. I mean, it looked cool. I mean,
Yeah, it
you
looked
gotta
like
give
it
you-
could have been something, but
yeah. I mean, you look at what the Atari VCS, and I've got one of those. You look at what that right there is. It's actually a pretty well designed system. It actually is a decent. It's got a nice interface on it. It's overpriced. I mean, that would be the biggest thing. I bought it. At a Micro Center for $250, which I think is about the right price for it. But you look at what it is, it's not a bad, for what it is, it's not a bad system. You got to think that the Intellivision, the Amico would have been very similar to it. And these guys, the Atari just can't break into the market. Even Collector Vision has their game out for it. The Sydney Hunter is actually on it. It's a very good port of Sydney Hunter. I actually bought it, and they said that the Atari guys were excellent to work with. If you go out and look at what JF said, they were excellent to work with, but nobody has them. The only people getting them are people like me and you guys are collectors, and we're getting it going, ooh, this is cute, and leaving it sit in the corner or putting windows on it. I mean, a lot of people just put windows on it.
well, here's the thing. I have an Ouya. Should I sell it or should I keep it?
I sold mine.
You might as well throw that thing in the trash.
No, what I'm wondering is if I hold on to it long enough, will it come back?
It's not going to come back.
No.
What?
I don't mean come back. I mean, it'll be rare and someone might want to buy it.
That's more what's going to happen. I mean, if you go out and you look, people want them for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, the whole reason I bought it is because they advertise it and have games on it. You can also freely make your own games on there, So I'm thinking, they'll have some kind of code on it. And I actually downloaded the like software to create the game and everything else, but I never got where it was too complicated. I never got anywhere with it, but.
I remember when I got that, it came in the mail. I opened it, I plugged it in, connected to my Wi-Fi, did the update, went into the store, purchased my first game to download, never downloaded, never got my money back. That was the
Why
end
did
of
you
it.
ever purchase anything? Everything with most you could get everything for free.
Well, there were like actual
there were
games on
there
it.
were.
And the one I was like, I don't remember what it was, but I was like, oh, well, it's like $5. I'll buy it on here just so I can say I have it on the Ouya. And then it never worked on the Ouya. It never
I
did.
never purchased the game, so that's probably why they went under.
I remember, I think one of them I bought on Amazon and one I bought at Target, because Target actually did carry them.
Yeah, I had a game box where I got mine.
The
Oh,
controller
yeah, I had the
was awful.
What?
Yeah.
The controller,
Yeah.
They were junk. Yeah,
it was. I mean, you bend that thing even just a little bit, it would just explode.
The Atari controller, it's made by P Power, the for the VCS. But what you're able to do though is because of how open they've got it, I actually was able to pair an Xbox One controller with it.
Wow.
So it actually worked pretty well for that. And I was actually using it. Gamer Pass, the streaming part of gaming, of the Xbox gaming things works with the Atari VCS.
Yeah.
So I was, they're saying, well, we got thousands of games. Yeah, you do, but they got Stadia on there. They've got, Amazon Gaming on there. Yeah, you've got all these games, but they're not your games. But you can play Missile Command Reloaded,
Which is pretty good.
which is actually pretty good. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, and that Atari VCS, doesn't it have Linux? Isn't there a
It does.
version of Linux on there?
Yeah, it's a very specialized version of Linux.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can put Windows on there. You can put Linux on there. It's very easy. ETA Prime did a great video on how to update that thing, and it's dead on. You just put in an M2 card in there, and you can load whatever you want on there. I personally found it was better just to use your normal PC than use that thing as a Windows box. It was more one of those. Oh, I could put Windows on here. Oh, it boots up. Cool. Back under the TV kind of thing. As a techie, something to mess with.
Exactly.
Yep.
What about the Steam Deck? Do you have a Steam Deck? No.
I do not. I had the original one, the one that, what was it? Steam Link.
Yep.
I did not have the deck. I've heard good things about the deck. The Steam Link. The controller was awful. I hated the Steam controller. I don't know. Some people either really liked it or hated it.
Yeah.
They went for a lot on eBay if you kept them long enough. Not as much as a Ouya would go for. No, I'm just kidding. But no, they went for a little bit at the very end. I mean, once they got rid of them all. But I never liked the controller. Basically it was in a drawer somewhere.
I don't remember what it looked like because I didn't have one, but I knew somebody that did.
Yeah, go out and look at the controller. Go out and look at that controller. It had a slide pad on it.
Yeah.
It had a slide pad on it.
Well, it doesn't look like, it looks like there's not any rockers. It's like all touch. Is that what it?
Yeah, it was, and it was about as accurate as you could think. As you think by looking at it.
It looks like they took, honestly, it looks like they took an Xbox and a PlayStation controller and smashed them together.
Well, my favorite controller is the Xbox controller. I have PlayStation ones and everything else. I don't know.
But did you like the Duke?
No, not that one.
Hold on. Yes. I didn't originally like it when I first got an Xbox. I don't know how old I was, like 13. But now that I can have the Duke again, it is my favorite. How cool is it to hold 100-pound controller? If somebody comes and listen, if mom come right now and tell me not to throw that box away, I could throw that controller at her and she would never tell me that again. She wouldn't be able to. She'd be knocked out dead in the corner because it's so heavy.
That's the only controller that fits my big hands.
But so when I got the original Xbox, it was like I believe at one point they started sending a smaller controller out with them.
It was made for the Japanese market. What happened was when it came out in Japan, they made the decision to come out with a controller that, we need a smaller controller over there.
Yeah.
And that controller started getting leaked over here and everybody wanted it. So yeah, they eventually just started bringing the Japanese controller over.
So that's the version I first had. And I remember I went to a GameStop and I saw the Duke controller.
The Duke. Yeah.
And I bought it, like used at GameStop. And when I came home and opened up like the GameStop plastic wrap, it smelled like cat piss. I distinctly, that's like one of my gaming memories is that controller.
That wasn't one of JM's cats that did that behind him that was walking around, was it?
That's like, it's such a weird memory to have, but it's just one of those, like, I was so excited. This was the Duke. I opened it and it just smelled
like it.
It smelled so bad, like to the point where sometimes when I touch controllers now, I'm like, I can still smell it. Like just that like memory is there. It's the weirdest, just the weirdest thing that's like one of my top gaming memories too. Like not beating Super Mario World, not playing Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which is my favorite game ever.
But
my Duke controller smelling like cat piss.
It sounds like maybe Dennis Leary had it in the ref. You guys ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, do you do any virtual reality at all? You got an Oculus?
I do not. My son has the HTC one. And he wants to get rid of it, so it may end up here so I can play with it. I don't. I haven't really messed with it at all. But like I said, he has the closest I've got is Connect. But
After trying John's, I went out and bought an Oculus 2, and
I've heard they're nice.
It's pretty good. In fact, I play Beat Saber, and I play there's a Star Wars something of the galaxy, or wait, Galaxy something. It's after the Walt Disney World place. They got the Galaxy. It's the Galaxy. It's actually really good. It is.
The one I want, if I do that, I want the bridge, the Star Trek bridge one.
I have it. It's really fun.
I have it. I just haven't bought it yet.
Yeah, I'm an old school Trekkie. You know, it's so
I'm there. I've been watching the original series like every night while I'm laying in bed. I'll
tell you what. If when you're done with the original series, go out and there's a web series called Star Trek Continues.
I've heard of it. Yep.
I think I've seen 2 episodes of that.
Yeah, Vic Mignogna is the guy that put those together, and the sets still exist. You can go down. They actually had a fan appreciation down in Kingsland, Georgia, where every once a month they go down. You can go down there and tour the sets. And this guy actually, Vic actually built the sets to make the series. They're pretty nice, and it's free. They can't charge because there's another guy that has sets up in Ticonderoga, and he's the official one. But if you Star Trek Continues is an 11 episode thing that branches that last episode of the original series with the first movie.
Oh, okay.
And the first movie, and the first movie just came out on Paramount Plus.
It did.
The new 4K version. I just watched that the other night.
I will say that my favorite, and this is probably basic because it's probably everyone's favorite, but Rathacon, obviously.
Oh, Rathacon by far.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah.
100% the best.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And to be honest, like not just for the relevance of the movie and him and Kirk yelling Khan, but the soundtrack, the orchestral.
Horner did a beautiful job.
The music is so good in that movie.
Yeah. No, Horner did a phenomenal job on that music. And that was like one of his first big movies, I think. If you go out and look at his soundtracks, I think
you're right.
Yeah. I mean, he did a lot of other stuff after that, but that was his main, when he was first starting out. But yeah, Wrath of Khan, man, I absolutely agree. And that remaster looks pretty good if you ever get your hands on it.
It does. And then I know
you watched the new Picard at all?
Picard, I watched the first season and I found Picard was great. If you had insomnia and you wanted something to help put you to sleep, I just put Picard on.
Yeah, I kind of like Picard. I like what they did with the first one. Now the second one here, I don't know so much about, but
I'm looking forward to Strange New Worlds.
Me too.
That's the one because I don't like STD. I don't find it Star Trek
generation, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about this Star Trek Discovery. I call it STD.
Oh no! I don't like.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. But when they brought in Pike, he did a good job. He was a good Pike.
Yeah.
So hopefully, and that's Gregory Peck's grandson that's playing Spock.
Oh.
Ethan Peck is Gregory Peck's grandson, and that one has the most promise.
Yes, it does.
That one has the most promise because it's sad when Seth MacFarlane does better Star Trek than the people that are currently doing Star Trek. Because the Orville is better Star Trek than anything that's on TV right now.
Yes. And the problem
is it
went and took it off of regular TV, so now I can't watch it.
It's coming. It's that and Strange New Worlds. We're going to be overloaded with hopefully good sci-fi. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I loved Orville. I thought what was funny was when we went down to the sets. I went down to the sets, the Kingsland sets in December, and somebody in Kirk's quarters had the Orville. They had a 3D printed Orville sitting in Kirk's quarters. I'll have to see if I can find that picture. It was kind of funny. Yeah. Like I said, if you're an old Trek fan, Continues is absolutely worth watching.
Yeah, I saw one. I mean, I know I saw one or two, but I should go back and watch the rest.
Listening to Mignogna talk about how they got Lou Ferrigno in there to film, because they had Lou Ferrigno playing an Orion slave trader, and listening to the stories about how they filmed the fight scenes with him and all the stuff, I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was, if you're a Trek fan, it's a lot of fun to listen to people that.
I'm a Hulk fan, so
Yeah, if you're a Hulk fan, you'll really like it.
in
It's
the
just
old
not
days,
the
I
first
watched
time.
all them Hulks.
So did I. So did I. It's not the first time he was green, I guess, is the Star Trek things.
That's
So
fun.
I'll say one more thing about continues is the guy that plays Scotty is Jimmy Doohan's son. It's Chris Doohan,
Oh, okay.
and which I thought was kind of interesting. He does his dad's accent in it.
I do like what's his the actor that plays him in the new series of movies.
Oh, you're talking about Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg. I
love
I'm
Simon Pegg, but not in that role.
Just not even just that role, but just in general. But however he plays that role, he nails like that young role, that young Scotty role right there.
I think we'll disagree on that one. I love the new movies. I love Simon Pegg. Got what was it? Shaun of the Dead. Excellent movie. A lot of his other ones were excellent. He was great in the Mission Impossibles, but JJ's Scotty is more of a buffoon than he is as an engineer. He's almost comic relief, and the way it was played back in the '60s, he wasn't a comic relief guy. He was the guy holding the whole thing together.
Yeah.
And Pegg's representation of that, and whether it's probably more writing than anything, just isn't there. And the guy that wanted the role is the guy I really wish would have got the role. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Stargate Atlantis.
Yeah,
but there was a guy named Paul. He was the guy that played the Doctor. He looks a lot like Jimmy Doohan, and he actually would have been a really good Paul. What was his name? Now I got to look it up. Don't you love Wikipedia? But he is Scottish. The man is Scottish. We got totally off track, but this is good stuff.
Yeah. We always go off track.
You always go off track. His name is, where is it? Stargate Atlantis. Here, list all the characters. He was the Doctor. Paul McGillen. If you go out and look at him, he interviewed for auditioned for the role, and they ended up giving it to Pegg because Pegg and J.J. Abrams are good friends.
Wait, hold on. I know this guy.
Yeah, just think about him as Scotty. He would have.
What do I know him from?
Now Jimmy Doohan's son is in the first two movies. He's the transporter chief standing next to Simon Pegg.
Oh, he's obviously Stargate Atlantis, but he's in Tomorrowland.
Okay, a good actor, very good actor.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but they were going for a comic.
We're going to try to reel this back in, and
oh geez,
would like to
getting chastised.
Would like to have Mike talk about the Evercade system that he wanted to come on and talk about. So, Mike, if you want to transition from movies to Evercade, that would
we will warp over to how about we do it that way? We'll warp over into the Evercade. Yeah, I've been kind of playing with the Evercade. One of my friends, good friend of mine, who'll probably be listening to this podcast, once it's published, Andres, got me into looking at the Evercade, and he got me looking into this handheld one. This is the first one that came out. This is the handheld one. And what these guys are doing, I found kind of interesting, is they're coming out with cartridges. They're up to like 24, 25. And what they're doing is they're taking old licensed titles. So that came out for, Nintendo. There's some Genesis games in there. There's some that are made just specifically for this, but they're done in groups. Each cartridge has like 8 to 12 games on it. There's one that has just 2, but it was because of licensing. So, this is what I find this thing is good for, is a good way to get licensed copies of some of the games that you want to play. They have Pac-Man, they have a Namco museum, they have the Atari one. They actually just started coming out with with coin op ones. So like actually coin op Centipede. It actually plays that way. Let me show this. This right here was their second system. This is the Versus. And it's got a spot in here. It's got the 2 cartridges in it. You can use third-party controllers. It does come with a control. It does come with 2. I just turned my camera off, I think. Did I? Or did I not?
No, you're good.
No, you're good.
Okay, I just clicked the screen. Normally the cat does that for me. So this is the controller for it. So this is, you see the things. Neither one of them come with a power supply. You have to supply your own, but they're micro USB. So, you can pretty much use an old phone charger with it.
Nothing comes with power bricks anymore. Like nothing. I've ordered in the last week. I've ordered 3 things off of Amazon. A stove light, like that goes up under, above the stove underneath the cabinet. I just got a new phone. It didn't come with a power brick. Nothing comes with a power brick.
Apple doesn't come with them. I mean,
that's what it is. It's the 13 Pro Max. No power brick. Luckily, I have a couple iPad ones, the bigger ones, but but it's not just Samsung doesn't ship power bricks anymore. Apparently, everything I order for Amazon doesn't have power bricks. But anyway, sorry, didn't mean to derail you. I was furious.
I was kind of. You pay how much for? I bought the iPhone 12, and it's the first iPhone I ever bought. And, I felt like it was, a full years of car payments getting the thing. And I mean, now granted, it's the best phone I've ever owned. I will say that hands down, best phone I ever owned.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah. I'm not a sponsor and I'm not an Apple fanboy. It's the best phone I've ever owned. That being said, I paid for that experience. It should have came with a freaking charger. No, anyways.
So
my Android Moto G came with an adapter to plug it in.
All right. So the question,
it was only under $200.
the question for Mike is the original system. How much was that? The cost of that? Do you remember?
It was $100 and it came with 2 cartridges. It came with, I didn't have to look at what the 2 were. I want to say it came with one of the first Atari ones. Here, let me look real quick. I don't have the box here in my hand. Okay. That's one of the things, John, I liked about it is it actually came with stuff. It wasn't just a lot of times you buy a game cartridge and you have to actually, you actually have to buy not game, but a game system. You actually have to buy cartridges for it. You buy an Xbox One, you have to go get a game or get a Game Pass or something in Nintendo. Yeah. These guys right here, what they did is they threw two cartridges in it. So when you got like 25 games with it, which I thought was a good thing. The cartridges are cheap. They're $20 each. So
you're getting multiple games with.
And you're getting multiple games. They're all licensed. The only game, this right here is kind of interesting. So they're running into licensing issues at this point because the 2 Namco ones, they do not work in the Versus. They only work in the handheld. They do not work in the Versus.
Okay.
So, and the reason for that is licensing. Apparently they are trying to it. And I stand corrected. It actually came with 3 cartridges. The handheld. This one, it came with 3.
Okay.
It came with Namco Museum. This one's wrong. It didn't come with this. It came with Atari. It came with Interplay, and it came with one other one. I gotta see if I can find a picture of it. And I apologize.
Does that Interplay include the Interplay Star Trek game that was on?
It does not. I have that somewhere.
I have
the disc.
That and Judgment Rights.
Yep.
Yeah, great games.
That 25th anniversary.
That and Doom were the first games I ever played. My dad had them on a DOS computer, and that was my introduction to gaming.
Did you ever play the text adventure? There was a text adventure for Star Trek. It was called the Kobayashi Alternative.
Yes. I don't know if I don't know if I want to say I've probably got into it. I don't want to say I've played it, but I've entered some, I've entered the game.
I played a little bit of it.
I'm like
a little bit of it.
I'm an RPG person, but like when it comes to text adventures, I need like a text adventure. Give me some art or something
Yeah.
to look at.
At least King Quest art. The first
Yeah,
King
yeah.
art, at least.
Well, I have to say the reason I played that, well, when I'm a Star Trek fan, obviously, but because of how rambunctious we got in the library playing the games on the Apple, they banned all gameplay. So what the only games you could play were the text games because the teachers couldn't figure out that you were actually playing text games, that you were actually playing games. So that's Kobayashi. I think I actually beat it, not because I liked the game, but because I had to look like I was studying.
If you guys would stop punching each other over Oregon Trail, that wouldn't have happened.
It wasn't Oregon Trail. I'm trying to remember what game it was, but we get excited.
Was the first Zork text?
But all of them were. All of the
Well,
Zorks.
I mean, I have
Was there
two
a Zork?
Zork games that were not, but I think the first one or two were text. Yes.
Yeah, I want to say the first three. I wanna
Okay,
say
you're
the
right.
first
But
three.
I know I have two Zork games that are not.
Now I'll tell you. Now, Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah.
Leisure Suit Larry was based upon a text game that came out before. Because we're keeping this PG, go out and search for Leisure Suit Larry on Wikipedia, and it'll tell you the game. But Leisure Suit Larry was a text game when it first came out. It had a different name.
Yeah, it's a dude trying to get laid.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, I'll say it. It was called Soft Porn Adventure.
But
That's what it was called.
The game is pretty much PG though.
The game is PG, but it was the same. But
Yeah.
it was exactly. I solved the one on the graphics one because it was exactly the same, and we played it for hours in the library. That one in the Kobayashi game.
That's funny.
Funny enough, when I was in the library, we emulated Nintendo and played Punch Out. And I remember one time I
God.
told the librarian if she'd leave me alone, I was going to punch her out.
Yeah, that probably ended up in the principal's office.
It didn't, because she knew that was just the kind of stuff that I didn't get in trouble for that. Luckily, looking back, I shouldn't have said that, but
Okay, we're gonna reel this back in again.
To the Evercade.
Is the Evercade, is the portable one still available?
It's not. It is still for sale, but Amazon doesn't have it right now because of the supply chain. Right now, it's hard to get it.
Okay.
The Versus now you can easily get and on, because Best Buy actually just pulled it in stock. They have it right now. They have the only two places in the US to really get it are Amazon and Best Buy. And right now, Best Buy only has about 2 or 3 of the cartridges. And they're the newer ones. Some of the older ones are getting hard to get. Like the Jalico one, I literally had to get from a place in Seattle. And the 2 Namco ones, I had to go to Amazon UK to get them.
Wow.
So yeah.
How much is the Evercade VS?
Like 139, 140.
139.
Yeah,
Okay.
it comes with the comes with 2 arcade games. It comes with the that one I actually had up. It's like right now the portable one isn't even. It's 130. Sorry, it's 130, 129.99, and it comes with the Technos and the Data East. The Data East has one of my favorite games in it, Burger Time.
All right.
But it also, what else is on this one? Now you got me curious.
I heard
The Data East one, I think, has Bad Dudes on it, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Bad
Burger
Dudes.
Time, yeah, Bad Dudes versus Dragon Ninja.
Nice.
Games of Doom, Wizard Fire, Lock and Chase. I thought was a fun game. That's on that one. The Techno one, what was on that one? It was so Double Dragon 2 and Double Dragon 3 are on the Techno one. So you're getting
3's trash, 2's okay.
2's okay. Yeah. So you're getting a bunch of games. You're getting 8. Each one's got 8 games on it, and then you get 2 controllers.
Mike, what was the
Charger.
official name? What was the official name of the portable one?
Just Evercade. It was
Just Evercade,
Blaze.
okay.
Evercade. Blaze is the British company and comes out with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I actually just did a search on Amazon and I cannot find the original Evercade on here anymore. I know it's still available because if you go to the British Evercade site, or you go to the British Amazon site, it's there. But they must have just recently pulled it because they can't get it.
Okay. Yeah. There's some there's some third party places like on eBay's got them and stuff,
Yeah,
You know,
you're gonna probably pay more. I was just
I
trying
mean,
to
the one place on eBay is saying 134, 135.
for the portable.
Yeah.
Yeah, the portable. Let me look at Amazon UK real quick. Now you got me curious. Amazon UK. Let's see.
No.
Because remember, it's a British. It is a British company.
Okay.
So yeah, here it is. It's 99 euros
On
on
Amazon UK.
So like
yeah.
what?
Amazon UK.
120 American.
Yeah, but it's coming from Super Stock, so they're overcharging for it.
From where?
It's coming. It's one of their third party people over there, so it's going to be less than that in the U.S. It's not. It was. I want to say it was $99 when it was out. Let me just double check. When in doubt, ask the person who bought it. So
But as far as they're still
no,
That's
it's
still-
definitely still being made. Yeah, it's
still making
definitely
the
still being
portable. Okay.
made. Yeah, no, they're still. They just announced they're coming out with. It's 99. It's 99, and it comes with the Atari Collection 1, Interplay Collection 1, and what's this one? And Data East Collection 1. This Data East is different than the Data East that comes with the Versus. The Versus comes with the 2 arcade packs. They're purple. That's the cartridges. The portable comes with basically it's the NES versions of Burger Time and all that. So what they're doing is they got 2 lines now. They've got the arcade, which is the purple boxes, and then they've got the red. You can see the red box.
Yeah, the red boxes. Yeah.
The red box, not to be confused with the video rental. But yeah, it was $99. I'm looking at it here because I had it on pre-order at Amazon.
Okay.
It's $99. It comes with those three games. So it's probably your better deal. It does have a mini HDMI port, so you can hook it to a TV.
Oh, okay. Nice.
One of the things I did find out about it, which to update the firmware, you have to hook it to a Windows machine, and you need to update the firmware.
Okay.
One of the things I thought what they're going to do is really cool, and they just announced this, is that in the new firmware updates, they're going to give everybody a free game every month. So when you take their firmware, you'll get a game and you get to play it for those 30 days.
Oh, nice.
Which I thought was kind of a nice little thing. And they say it works with both the devices. The other thing is getting into like what do you call them? The multi-cartridge things like the Atari Max and stuff like that. Somebody is making an Ever SD for this thing. It's a British company that's doing it, where you can load games on it and you can use it to come up with homebrews for it. So they're trying to pass that thing off as a developer thing, but apparently it'll run RetroArch if you get that thing. So if you can do that, you can put whatever you want on it at that point.
Right. Exactly.
So, but it's called the Ever SD.
On the portable one, it's got
Mhm.
a rechargeable battery pack.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't come with a charger, but it's a micro USB charger. We'll go back to it. Doesn't come with a charger.
Of course
There's
not.
the bottom of it.
And
You know
it's
that's gonna
got
be-
the audio jack for headphones.
Got an audio jack, no Bluetooth. Neither one of them have Bluetooth.
Okay. And what about the screen size? What would you say the screen size is on that, on the portable?
Tell you what,
He's gonna measure it, isn't he?
I'm actually going to measure it. I don't want to come across as, you guys have me as a guest. I don't want to be a liar.
Well, we have to have accurate information.
You have to have accurate. It's a little more than 4 inches.
Okay. 4 inches
Like
diagonal.
4 and a
right?
quarter. It's like 4 and a quarter.
Diagonal.
They're
okay.
saying on here, they're saying 4.3 inch screen.
Okay.
So
All right.
4 and a quarter.
Yeah. Very good. Okay.
And we checked them. We accurately checked them. That we know that we're right. But yeah, it's got two things up here. It's got two control, two pads
okay.
up here.
All right.
You got the 4.
Yeah.
The screen, now I'll tell you, the build quality is good. The only thing I didn't like is this is not glass on the front of it. This is a heavy plastic.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is going to be prone to scratching.
Yeah.
So what a lot of people are doing is they're buying, what is it, a PS portable
PSP,
3000? Yeah, one of the Vita screen protectors, and putting that on it.
On top of that. Okay.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to do that with this one. I mean, honestly, quite frankly, the Versus is the one I play the most.
Okay. And then how does that one differ from the portable as far as,
The Versus,
yeah, the ports and,
well, with the firmware upgrade, the first thing I noticed when I got the Versus was the screens looked totally different. But I just did the firmware update earlier today, and now they look identical. So they're actively doing stuff with the firmware. The difference is that one, just this one here does have Wi-Fi. So the port difference is you do have 4 ports,
okay.
and you can use any USB controller. So we looked at the inside. One thing I did notice, I don't know, something tells me JC is a lot like me on this. We don't like reading directions. So when I got it,
Throw 'em in the
moment I
trash.
got it, yeah, you throw them in the trash with the box. I did keep the boxes, but what I like to do, what I did with this thing is I plugged it up, and I tried to turn it on. It wouldn't come on. So I said, you know what? I probably got a broken one. So I actually was looking at the directions on this thing right here. What I didn't like about it is you got to hold the power button in for like 5 seconds to turn it on.
Oh, wow.
So it's definitely doing some kind of boot process. But if you don't read the directions,
Yeah.
you know, you go out and look at some of the reviews. Oh, the thing didn't turn on. Well, you got to hold it down. To turn it off, it just pop it. There's your back ports. That's all you have. You just have, you have a master reset button, a full HDMI, and the micro.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe your power problem was due to like an underpowered USB brick.
No, it's the first thing I thought. That was the first thing I thought. But what I ended up, on the power strip I put it in, actually had a USB power on it, and I hooked it to that. So I actually went and I grabbed a Surface charger for a Surface that has the where you can plug in a USB cable, and that puts out more than enough power for this thing, and it still wouldn't come on just popping the button. It's a design thing with this thing.
Now, do they tell you a recommended amperage for the?
Yeah, it's like 1 amp.
Oh,
Yeah,
is
it's
that
like
all?
5-volt, 1 amp. Yeah, it's
Oh,
less
okay.
than a Raspberry Pi. The
Yeah.
Raspberry Pi 3 is 2.5,
Yeah.
and a 4 is 3.
Yeah. Yeah. It kept going up in each Raspberry Pi that came out. So
Yeah, you're basically going to need a generator to run the next Raspberry Pi that comes out,
yeah,
assuming there's going to be another one. They
There's-
can't supply the current ones.
there's a current Raspberry Pi shortage because of the supply chain issues.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame because that's what a lot of people use when they're building bar tops and stuff like that. I mean, I use Raspberry Pis to control my 3D printers.
Yeah, you're using the OctoPi.
Absolutely. That
Yeah.
is one wonderful little project.
Yep.
Yeah, that was that, and for the Raspberry Pi, that and the Retro Pi are two of the coolest projects. Retro Pi, the only issue with it is, when you're dealing with, should you, can you use these ROMs legally or can you not? You got to own the games. That's one of the things the Evercade does take care of. You're actually supporting the publisher and with these guys.
Right. Okay. And then you said the VS has Wi-Fi. Is that Bluetooth or no?
No Bluetooth. They kept
Wi-Fi.
Bluetooth out. It's just Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be fast. The only thing they're using it for right now is for downloading firmware. And I think eventually they're going to do download games. The fact that they're giving people a game a month tells me they're up to something with it.
Yeah.
So, but it will never work with this because this doesn't have any Wi-Fi at all in it.
Right. So you said you had to plug that into a Windows machine to update the firmware, right? Okay.
Yeah. It was basically like updating an iPod or something like that. You had to actually hook it to a machine.
Got it.
It was simple. I actually believe it or not, I used the Mac just to see how easy it would be to update it with a Mac. And
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, it actually worked pretty well with the Mac. It took me a couple of tries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about the on the portable one, the screen resolution, pretty good.
Not bad. Not bad. Here, let me throw something in it. What do I have out? Do I have anything that looks cool? Yeah, the Gremlin pack. Let's see how well this right here looks on the here, we'll flip it on, we'll show it on the screen. See if I get some of the glare. There. I'll do it like
Yeah,
that.
that's good right there. Yeah.
So when I did the firmware update on this one, it took forever for it to come up, and it's because the firmware, the configuration settings have changed, and they were causing it to be corrupt. But you got your little menu.
Okay.
That's hard.
Yeah,
I'm actually using the camera to watch this.
yeah,
So let's
start a game.
Let's just start a game and see what it looks
Just
like.
so you can see something.
So what I like is too, it actually gives you a little bit of information about the game. John, it does do save game states.
Oh, does it? Okay.
It does. It does,
Right.
which actually does a really good job at that. So if I hit loading, there's
yeah,
the resolution.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad.
Not
Boy,
bad.
that's black. Of course, what game do I choose? The one that's in black and white.
Oh, come on, give us a color one.
I'll give you a color game, but there's the menu when I hit the menu button. So you have
Okay.
options to quick save, load last save. You can even change the controls. So let's say you're using an Xbox controller. Yeah, of course I would choose a game that was black and white. How about a game called Zool? You guys ever heard of Zool?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I have too. I never played it, but I think I heard of it.
It's the
So yeah.
the little
NES.
game.
Oh, you got music. Can I juice the music?
Zool was supposed to be
There you go.
an answer to Sonic, wasn't it? That was supposed to be what company's Sonic?
Pegg.
No,
Sega.
no, I know that. I meant
Sega.
Zool was supposed to be this company's Sonic.
Yeah, Gremlin.
Hmm.
There.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Let me see if I can, I'll just take it in the game. Of course, you got all these things, you know, it's all the stuff that you just keep hitting start. And all right, here he goes. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Here, start the, I hit start. Come on. It's like, how the hell does it work? Well, I hit start 30 times. No, it's just me. I'm bring it upside down.
Screen looks good, but the start button is a little iffy.
There we go. There we go.
There.
There's what he looks like.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can jump and yeah. I mean, it looks pretty good actually for what it is.
Yeah. Not bad.
Resolution, you can see it's most of the screen.
Yeah. There. That's a good shot right there. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it's most of the screen.
Yep.
So
I
Very good.
appreciate
Anyway.
the front-facing speakers, and they're not like on the back where your hands are
Yeah.
or down at the bottom. Yeah, that drives me nuts when they put speakers where your hands naturally go.
And the VS it plays well with all the modern TVs.
yeah, I mean, I've got it on a little insignia. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see if I'll see how easy it is for me to move the camera. So there it is here, and I've got it used just on a regular insignia right here. I don't have it. I unplugged it.
That's okay. You don't.
Yeah,
You don't
I
have to.
unplugged it when I picked it up. But no, it looks good on the modern TVs. It doesn't have any issues. It came right up. It does, as long as you hold the button down. Oh, it does. It does one thing I don't like. The HDMI port's upside down.
Really?
Yeah, the HDMI port is actually upside down. Why?
That would drive me crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what other system I've done recently that had the damn thing upside down.
No, the only reason I was asking about the whether it played well with modern TVs is I know there were issues with the Phoenix. People were having trouble with getting the Phoenix to work on some
There
of
you
the modern TVs.
I don't know if you can see how well it lights up, but it actually lights.
Yeah, I see.
The machine actually lights up. But there's the verses. But the
Yeah.
menu is pretty much the same.
Oh,
What
there
I
we go.
like about it is it
It's a
actually
fast
says
boot.
says up in the corner that I'm using 2 cartridges, and you can take out cartridges on the fly.
Oh, there you go. 26 games. Yeah, nice.
Yep. So you don't if I pull out a cartridge.
Can you pull a cartridge out on the fly, or do you have
I
to?
just did. Yep.
Oh, you
Look at the
did?
top.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So now there's only 20 games, and then I can put like the other game in there if I wanted to.
Well, that's nice that you can do it on the fly.
Yeah, they did like I said, they did a pretty good. I have to give these guys credit. They did a really good job on this. They did a really good job on this. It is for what it is, and I have to say the price. I like the price. I like the price point of it. $20. $20 for a collection of games is very fair.
Well, the system price points are good too. I mean, plus you're getting all those games. So
yeah. I mean, there's some clunkers in there. I mean, why would I need a copy of the soccer game that came up? Why would I need that? I don't really need Power Soccer. 98. I think that was the one that came up. I was never a fan of it. I never was going to play it. Not Premier Manager 97 like that. I'm not going to play that, but Radical Rex, I mean, that's kind of a cool game. It's again, you got to look at it's being designed for the British market. So that probably is why you see the soccer games out there. I want to say the Jalico one had a few soccer games. It also had the bases loaded game on there, which to me, an old baseball, of all the old baseball games, that's not a bad one. But I mean, how many people really are going to play that?
Yeah. I actually like old baseball games.
Which one was your favorite? RBI was mine.
Was it Ken Griffey for the Super Nintendo? Was it 94?
I'm gonna date myself. I was in love with a title called Hardball for the
me too.
Commodore 64.
Here it is.
Me too.
It's
Apple.
Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball. 1994.
Yeah, no, Hardball was my favorite back in the day.
That was a good one.
I mean, Hardball RBI was good on the Genesis. I thought that was the better one on the Genesis. Bases Loaded was really good on the NES. I enjoyed that. Well, my love was always the hockey games, and that's one thing I keep begging JF to. Come on, guys, you guys are in Canada. You got to do a hockey game for the Coleco. Do Blades of Steel for the Coleco. But every other system had a hockey game. Even the Odyssey has a hockey game. The Odyssey has a hockky game. It's crazy. Bad. It sucks. It's on the same cartridge as soccer, which is kind of like hockey, but with no ice and but
you push a circular object back and forth. It's the same.
I love baseball for the Radio Shack Color Computer 3.
Well, MC, you're banned.
I bet you they had a hockey. Oh,
they for sure did.
I think they did too. But the baseball was actually really good on that.
Yeah, but everybody had a hockey except for Coleco. They had their, I saw Rob posted about they called it Super Action Football, but it was Super Action Soccer. He actually posted, I want to say he posted that today. I was laughing because I didn't even know that existed until I started collecting. And it actually says Super Action Football, but it's actually soccer. To me, it's soccer. I'm in America. It's soccer. It's not football.
Yeah. They had the baseball, the football, and the soccer, the Super Action.
And they had, of course, you had Rocky boxing.
Yeah. Yep.
Which was really good.
Which was really good, except for I did think it was creepy that Rocky and Mr. T didn't have eyes.
Yeah, I know.
They were basically stick figures.
Yeah,
put a couple of dots there, would you?
Yeah, you got to put a dot in their eyes. But
did they ever end up porting Champion Ice Hockey from the MSX to the ColecoVision? Because I remember that was talked about like 2014.
No, JF said that he had started making a hockey game for it, and every time they ask what kind of game we want for the club or what we'd like to see, is I come back and I say hockey and everybody starts liking it. So I'm hoping that and the fact that they're in Canada where there's a lot of people that like hockey.
I'll make sure next time I see it,
my ancestry is French Canadian, so of course I like hockey. French Canadian.
Your last name is very French, so
Well, it's like Mario Lemieux, you know.
it is actually.
Yeah, it's no, my ancestry is through Quebec. So
My hope is that in these future Zoom meetups that we can get some of these guys on, like 8-Bit Millie and JF, and
I would like to have them on the podcast. So this is an open invitation. Rob, 8-Bit Millie, anyone else in the community, JF, anybody, anyone who wants on, reach out. We'll make this happen. You can come on just the same way that has come on, and we'll just shoot the breeze like we are now.
Yeah, but in addition to that, I'll still continue to do the
No.
Zoom meetups in hopes that
No.
hopes that we can get more than 3 people this time.
There's more people on the podcast right now than there was the meeting.
wow, that's low. That's low. And I was driving.
Yeah. If it wasn't for you, Mike, would have been
John and I.
We'd have canceled.
No, we wouldn't. We would have sat there and talked about ColecoVision.
No, but you know what though? In all fairness, we had about 7 or 8 people that said they were going to get on.
Yeah, you did. I saw it. I mean, there was people that were actually interested.
Yeah, people forgot, and other people said, "Oh, I can't make it."
I just think it was a weird time. I think maybe the evening would work. It's hard because especially with like the nicer weather coming up, nobody's going to want to sit down and talk about this.
Well, here's what I got to. I'll have to like check the weather forecast and make sure that it's
look for when it's raining.
We got a monsoon coming up, and no one wants to be outside, and then we can have a.
Yeah, then you got to worry if they have power.
No,
well, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
okay,
not everybody has their ColecoVision on a UPS.
Hey,
No.
that'll make the show exciting.
Yeah. Well, this
will be popping in and out.
Speaking of, this has been a very exciting show. I just happened to look over at the clock. Our 1 hour quickly turned into 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So I want to extend a very warm thank you to you, Mr. Marcoux, for coming on. It has been a great conversation, always is. I've enjoyed our back and forth in email, even though I dropped off the face of the earth for 2 weeks. You are more than welcome to come on every single time. If you want to be a regular, please be our regular. Come back on. Well, like you said, the competition, we'll see how many M's and J's we can get on here. But I'm going to wrap this up right now. I think is probably a good idea because we'll keep going. Obviously we can continue discussion offline, off the podcast. Both MC and JM, thank you for being here as well. It's been a while. I appreciate the both of you. Always good content for the most part. I'm just making stuff up right now, by the way. I'm lying.
The alcohol's kicked in, huh?
It's kicking in. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling warm. No. But and you know what I just realized? The ending part of our podcast, we never told MM about.
We'll have to just say it.
He doesn't know about what we do.
Do I have to sing Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up? Because at
yes,
that point I'm done.
You actually have to do it backwards.
Then I needed the alcohol I didn't have.
No, so we have this little thing here where we have a saying that we say at the end of every podcast, and we never do it right.
Nope,
we've never done it right.
Never done it right.
Not one single time, and we've practiced before.
Dawn, you can just say it.
No, just count to 3.
So no, because that doesn't work either. Because I tried counting down from 3 earlier, and I didn't have my script up to read the beginning when the podcast started. So we here at the Techegy podcast always say, "Stay nerdy, my friend."
Oh, couldn't do it.
Huh?
Mike,
it's okay.
John, you were. I don't think, did John even say it?
It's okay.
I don't know. It's only 4 words. How hard is this to say "stay nerdy"?
Try a different language the next time.
Do it in Klingon.
I think if we do it, hey John, if I think we do it in French next time, then we'll be It'll be good.
My
Get
my
JF on. Get JF on.
Yeah.
of course he would know
can-
French.
He can do it in French. Oh yeah.
My drama teacher in high school knew Klingon, and his wife. They both knew Klingon. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I don't have time for that. I'm lucky to
I-
know about to spell my name.
I just
someday.
imagine them communicating in Klingon.
You gonna
Yeah.
stop the recording?
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to. Yep, stay nerdy, my friends. Hit the like button, or report us, whichever one's easiest.
Give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, or down. Down's interaction too. All right. Thanks, everybody.